Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, Let Her Create. And today I'm showing you something you can do with your digital art that maybe you hadn't thought of, or just in case you're wanting to do some kind of different craft that didn't involve your iPad or your computer. So what I have here is my design printed on a piece of cardstock, and you can print this at home or you can get this outsourced printed for you. Now, I didn't want to utilize the print and cut because I think I get more out of the paper when I just have it printed from my computer. And so this is what, you can put more on the page at the size you need and then just cut them out from there. So the next thing you're gonna need is your circles cut out of cardstock. Now I'm making really lightweight earrings. That's the whole point of having like paper earrings, and also to use your scraps, but that's another story. What you see here is these pre-cut circles, then they're just out of regular cardstock. I think a little heavyweight, about 80 pounds. And I use my Cricut Explore Air to cut these. If you have a hole punch or one of those large punches, you can use that. If you're really good with scissors, you can use that. They also have a circle ruler that you can use. So it's just up to you and what you have on hand. You don't need to go buy anything that you don't already have if you don't feel compelled to. The next thing you're gonna need is some Mod Podge or some 3-in-1. Now I utilize 3-in-1 because it sticks really quickly to what I'm doing, but you have to be very quick about it. You can't just keep trying to reposition it. And then it also adds an element of waterproofing, and it's acid free as well. And I just like when I'm working with paper to keep it acid free. And lastly, and this is totally up to you because you can use this or the Mod Podge to seal your artwork, but I'm gonna apply a layer of triple thick to the front of my earrings. So I don't have a circle punch, and I've taken the liberty to kind of cut some of these out to the best of my ability. I tried to use the Cricut to cut it out, but I was not successful with that, and I have yet to try again. And I was just really needing something else to do. So I'm just gonna show you really quickly, cutting with the scissors, what that'll look like. And a tip that I've learned with working with paper is to move the paper and not the scissors, because then it shows the hesitation, or it's not even the hesitation, it blunts the cut, especially if you're trying to go around something that's curved. I'm gonna cut off the last of that white edge. And there. So I'm gonna make sure I clean up this little strip of paper, because when you're working, it may blow into the seal at any time, and you don't want that. I was making a pair and I moved my arm and it blew right into the layer of triple thick. So I keep some of my Mod Podge in a glass jar. You don't have to, you can just pour some out, but that's just what I like. And you're just gonna apply a thin layer. You wanna make sure you get as close to the edge as possible. That way you know that it's glued down. When you're working with this, you can use wax paper on your workstation. This is my mat specifically for painting on and these types of projects, so I'm okay with it. I just wash it off with a little bit of soap and water, and you can see where some ink or paint has stained it, but that's okay. So there's one earring, and I'm gonna keep these really thin. It's up to you how many layers of cardstock you want on your sticker. I want them kind of light. I did do a pair with 5 layers, and it was okay to where I enjoyed wearing them, but I did feel the stickers. I mean the earrings. I apologize, the earrings. So you want to make sure the edges are really lined up really well, because when this is, the thicker you go, you want to sand the edge. So you just kind of want to line it up really, really clean. That way there's not a lot of overhang when you get ready to sand. And so the next layer of your earring is your artwork. Now you can use paper, you can print it out like I did. So I'm just gonna put her on top. And I'm not gonna worry too much about the white edge as long as it's sealed down, because in the end I'm going to finish it with a permanent marker, or yes, after I sand it a little bit. And I'm making sure she's sealed very well. I put such a thin layer of Mod Podge. These are already dry, but I kind of do a temperature check on them because it'll be cold. The Mod Podge will. But these are all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next step. So the next step is to sand the edge. I like to sand it before I do the final layer of Mod Podge across the top, because it just adds a second layer of protection for it. And I can kind of get it streamlined and even before I do anything else. Now I'm using a Dremel. You don't have to. I'm out of fingernail files and I keep forgetting when I go to the store. But you can just use your file and kind of go around the edge. And when you do this step, you want to make sure that everything is dry. So give it about maybe 5 minutes before you get to this step. So I just showed you going across it with the Dremel. On the next one, I might turn it on just so you can see what that looks like. And I turn it on the lowest setting. And I'm moving my paper and not the Dremel. I'm just going around. And that's it. The goal isn't to change the size of the sticker. It's just to have a fine edge on it, a finished edge. And I think this time I'm just gonna apply Mod Podge to the top, because it's an effective sealant. But I did do some that have a layer of triple thick across the top, and they come out like this. And just like with the Mod Podge, it kind of has the streaks in it. So I was learning with these how to use the triple thick. So I know now to definitely make sure I apply a thinner layer or a thinner stroke and not just the layer, because it tends to dry really, really quickly before you can really even get your brush back lifted and back to the other side. It's already dry. This is almost dry, so I'm just gonna hold at the edge and go around. This is almost dry, so I'm just gonna hold at the edge and go around. When I do that, I kind of try to catch it. It'll dry clear, but I still just kind of don't want a big glop of the Mod Podge there. So we're gonna do the second one. And I found that for me, when I get ready to do the edges, it's easier to Mod Podge it first because it doesn't absorb into the paper because it's sealed. But you can do whatever works best for you. Okay. And now we're done with the Mod Podge. So for the next step, you're gonna need some jewelry findings or earring backs, a pair of pliers, and something to punch the hole with into the earring so you can attach it. Now I'm using a Crocodile 2, and I got this several years ago, and I don't even think I've seen them in the stores, or maybe they have. I think they've updated it, but it's been a long time and I only bought it once, so I really feel like it's worth the investment, because if you do use the eyelets, you can, it has a space for you to adhere those as well as punching out the hole. But if you don't have that, you can use a needle tip, one of your needle tip tools that you use to weed with. You can use a 9-punch plier if you have one. I have one, and I haven't quite figured out how much pressure to put on it to get it to cut, but they do have these in the store. You use them to cut leather with as well, but I'm not going to be using that today. And you can also poke a hole through with a very sharp tip pair of scissors, or use an X-Acto knife if you don't have anything to punch the hole with. So the next step is going to be to put your sticker in between the Crocodile. And you want to punch the hole close enough to the edge, but not so close it'll break. And I missed a step. Forgot to do the back of the, forgot to seal the back of the earrings. So before I add my findings, I'll do that. So when I'm working with this sticker, what I like to do is line up the colors around the edge and turn them over. That way I can see where the hole is that I've punched for the earring back. That way I know everything's lined up and one is not askew. So it's important to go from the front of the punch or from the front of the artwork because it leaves a ring around it where it has torn the paper, where it cut it to go through. But that's a quick fix. And with this pair, I'll probably end up using an eyelet to kind of seal it off and have it look a little different. Have it look more clean. Oh. Okay, well, it's not that bad. I can just cut this with some scissors. Maybe not. There we go. I think you get the gist of it. Before I put this in my shop, I would... Well, let's cut it one more time. And then if need be, I can just change the size of the hole. There we go. That's better. All right, so the last step is to apply your findings. And you can pick whatever color you want. I got this set from Amazon. And I think I paid $7.99 for all of the pieces that are in it. And I like it. So the final steps, add your findings, ring 1, the second ring, and it just depends on how many jump rings you want. I'm going to use a smaller set to attach it to the earring hook itself. And so when you're applying your earrings, you want to make sure the hook is facing the design. And I attach all of that at once. I'm glad that didn't. Oh, pliers are in the way. So attach it. Make sure the hook portion that goes in your ear is facing towards the front of the design. And close. And there's your first earring. Now we'll do the second one. And sometimes to get it to fit, you have to open the ring up a little more, or you move your pliers. Hook portion to the front. And close. And there you have it. Your artwork turned into paper earrings. Now, I forgot to seal the back of these, and really quickly, I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it. Even though the findings are on there. Get my paintbrush again, get out my Mod Podge, clean my brush, and just go over the back.